A new shareholder lawsuit has just been filed against Goldman Sachs, the aggrieved party, a police and fireman pension fund. They say Goldman's board of directors breached their fiduciary duties by doling out huge bonuses. So in our call to Wild, are Goldman's bonus payments justified? Let's bring in Jay Eisenhofer of Granton Eisenhofer, the firm that brought the suit, and John Singer of Singer Deutsch. Hello, gentlemen. Jay, begin with you. Goldman has made a fortune for shareholders. Are you one of the shareholders?
Our client is one of the shareholders.
And so what's your beef with them if your client is making good money because the Goldman people have done a good job and, you know, they've got 5 years of restricted stock bonuses? I don't understand the beef here.
The beef here is that Goldman should be making more money for the shareholders and less money for the employees. As a matter of fact, over the past 10 years, Goldman has paid out $105 billion in compensation to its employees, but it's only had earnings of $45 billion after those payments. Our problem is with the policy at Goldman Sachs that the board of directors follows that says that every year Goldman Sachs pays out right around 50% of its net revenues in compensation to its employees. That policy, we believe, is an improper breach of the board's fiduciary duty, which has a fiduciary duty to set compensation on a yearly basis based upon the relevant factors.
John, you know, some may make the argument that the reason why they get the very best talent right out of school and over time is because they do pay so much money to their talent. What do you think of that argument?
Well, I think it's a very good argument, but let's sift through some of the contrived legal theories here, and let's look at what this case is really about. Following the collapse of the financial markets in the fall of '08, Wall Street bonuses became a hot-button issue. They raised the ire of the regulators. They raised scrutiny amongst the compensation czar, Ken Feinberg. They engendered substantial vitriol amongst populist Wall Street. And now, predictably, also attending the party, last but not least, are private litigants who are looking to share in some of the pie here and also to capitalize on some of the negative sentiment against Wall Street.
Doesn't mean they don't have a point, though.
Well, there is no breach of fiduciary duty. The board of Goldman Sachs has a duty to its shareholders to increase revenues, profits, and shareholder value. In November of 2008, the stock hit a low of 47. It's now 165, $118 swing here.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
Go ahead and respond to that.
Well, first of all, the stock has not recovered to the point at which it was when it was at its high before it started its decline. But the point about the breach of fiduciary duty here is that this is a board of directors that follows a policy which was put in place a decade ago of awarding 50% of net revenues to employees. The job of the board of directors here is to maximize the returns to shareholders. That's what its paramount interest should be. How does the board of directors know that it can't maximize returns to shareholders by paying 40% in compensation, 35%? In a given year, maybe 42.5% is the right number.
How do you know? How do you know? What is the quantitative evidence on that point? How can one know?
That's something to be...
I mean, the stock is soaring, as John Singer suggested. So, Jay,
that's something to be decided during...
What is your metric? What is your metric with which to judge?
That's something to be determined during the lawsuit. But the point is that the board of directors has an obligation as a matter of fiduciary duty law to be looking at this on an individual basis and applying the relevant factors every year. They can't simply be following a policy which has been set 10 years ago. And the results of that policy are particularly glaring this year when, as everybody knows, the reason why Goldman Sachs stock has come back and the reason why Goldman Sachs has done so well this particular year is because of the TARP bailout and the bailout of AIG.
Jay, does it make you feel any better that the top managers are getting all of their bonus in stock and they're right there in the trenches with all of your shareholders? That doesn't make you feel any better?
Absolutely, absolutely. But the fact that that's a positive development doesn't change the fact that...
Gentlemen, thank you very much. We're going to have to leave it there.